gentlemen, it's a privilege to have your company, and if you are a long-time either viewer or listener, or a first-time visitor, you are welcome here. This is the Apex Predator, abbreviated APX. I am Chris Nell, where we help to give you the tools to help you meld into what's an unbreakable mind, an unstoppable force, becoming an untamed spirit, and ultimately developing into your own army of one. If you are a first-time visitor, I can promise you that you are in for a treat. As an opener, I present you with a riddle which is musical in its delivery, like a child's limerick, but it serves as perfect context, and it goes as follows. I have millions of eyes, yet I live in darkness. I have millions of ears, but only 4 hemispheres. I have no muscle. The previous one goes, but only 4 lobes. I have no muscle, yet I rule 2 hemispheres. So, to repeat again, millions of eyes, live in darkness, millions of ears, 4 lobes, no muscle, ruling 2 hemispheres. The answer, of course, is the human brain. The most pliable, versatile, yet unparalleled, undervalued, if not the most undernourished organ in the human body. How is it exactly that it is so versatile? Quite simple, as a matter of fact. Through the relationship of the enteric nervous system and the central nervous system through the retinal activation system. Too big a wording? I'll make it even more simplified. Knowledge in action equals power. The indicative input that you insert here today will become normative of your reality tomorrow. I've said this innumerable times, but maybe because I'm more of a layman, perhaps my guest will provide even better insight. Back for a return visit, I present to you Dr. Robb Kelly, dual doctorate holder, practicing psychologist. He's an author, radio and TV personality, a speaker, philanthropist, and plus also pioneer of the Robb Kelly Group. Doc, seriously, these lapses in time between you and me communicating need to stop, honestly.
Right, exactly. Thanks for having me, Chris. Hey guys, great to see you.
Through our conversation, we're going to talk about professional expansion, 9D breathwork and aspects of neuroscience, proactive beliefs trumping limiting beliefs. In other words, words being the new weapons. So, Doc, to kick off with that, a little bit of anthropology. Since we last spoke, you originally began Robb Kelly Recovery Group as a means to provide people who had been suffering from addiction previously with all the tools that they need to move positively forward, going from in recovery to being recovered, in other words. Tell me about more or less the time frame and the mindset that it took to expand from what was your original oeuvre, coming to realize that you had more versatility at your disposal to grow as a business.
Well, when we first started the Robb Kelly Group, like you said, it was only alcohol and drugs. But as we found out more about the brain and the conscious and subconscious mind, we found that we could use this not only to recover from any addictions, but also to enhance thought patterns and the brain itself to produce the super brain. So now we work with, well, it's very exciting here, we think. We not only work with alcohol, drugs, depression, PTSD, childhood trauma, entrepreneurs wanting to better themselves, shifting the brain from negative to positive. But we're now in early trials and tests with onset Alzheimer's and dementia, which we have a patient right now that's shown a 9% increase in memory reversal. So we're kind of covering everything to do with psych. Oh, Chris, I can't see you, by the way. I don't know whether you mean to be off camera. It's exciting because we don't know where this is going to end, whether we're going to continue and find out more. Time will tell. But yeah, I think we've only scratched the surface up to now. So then we changed the Robb Kelly Recovery Group to the Robb Kelly Group. And anything to do with bettering oneself, recovering from any kind of mental wellness. We don't call it mental illness. We believe you can fully recover. So yeah, there's nothing we don't turn down right now. And we're very excited. And we're probably 10,000 patients in by now.
My goodness, eh? Phew. Dumbfounded. Well, this serves as a perfect segue into question two, because the last time that you were here, you were the one who introduced me to the concept of neuroplasticity. And after we spoke, I was hooked like a fish to a lure. Now, you expounded considerably about neuroscience, specifically the concept of neuroplasticity, and you more or less also alluded to it in your previous answer. The principle of neuroplasticity, which aids positive mitochondrial function. Can I be even extreme like what you would be to say that this is even applicable to individuals at an advanced age, 60 and over, 70 and over, 80 and over?
100%. So average age is around 19 to 70 that we've been working with. So there's a couple of things we found, especially with people my age. I'm 63 right now. So let's say between 60 and 70s, is first of all, diet is first of all. Secondly is hiding away from the outside world. We've got to stop telling Granny to put an extra coat in and sit in front of the fire. We've got to start telling her to take the outside coat off and get out in the snow and in the cold and be walking around. And thirdly, human beings sit too long. We're not meant to sit down. What you find is you go, oh, my back, oh, my head. The only reason your back's hurting, guys, or the only reason that you can't walk properly or bend properly is because you've been immobile for the last 30 years. So every day in the gym is an extra day of living to your full potential. So we never want to get to that, oh, I'm 65 now, I'm going to retire. From our research, and my great father once said to me, people who retire are people who die. And I truly believe that. I mean, we're living longer today. We're doing more things today with the human brain and the central nervous system. The belief system and the food is terrible in America, but now we have a new health minister that's going to change that. And I think once that gets changes and we get rid of the rancid canola oils and sunflower oils and we replace it with the 4 essential oils, the avocado oil, the coconut oil, the ghee butter, all that. Yes. Then we're going to see a difference in people's mental capabilities at that age and also physical.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there. I've been doing it myself as a result because health is wealth. It's truly age before beauty. And having suffered also physical ailments, which nearly killed me after getting into recovery, making those changes, small in number and then gradually increasing, I've begun to feel the benefits first in my mind and then in my soul. And I'm telling people my age category, I'm in my early 30s. I'll still be in my early 30s come July. But it's incremental that you start taking book about your health. I said it earlier in the intro, and Dr. Kelly has expounded upon it now in such an understandable way. The one cannot do without the other, but when it starts up here in this pentium, it moves down to the stomach. You know the gut feeling that you get? It's science. It's all related to neuroscience. It's not hocus pocus, woo-woo, fiddle-faddle. It's true merit. On that, I want to ask you as well, Doc, when it comes to the concept of willpower and decision-making, to even a person's fight, flight, and fear response, abbreviated F3 response, how much would you say with the tally bean percentage to neurons?
I would say, again, individually, I would say about 80% maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing here. I've not done any deep work on that. But what I will add to that, and here's where the real question is you talk about the gut feeling. So true, so true. But what a lot of people don't know is because of the food we eat, you've got to have 20 or 30 minutes exercise every day. You've got to be drinking plenty of water, and oxygen is the key. There's 4 chemicals every day that need to happen in the brain to make one happy. And they are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we kind of know what endorphins are. Yeah, we go to the gym. Going to the gym doesn't raise endorphins as such. It's the oxygen that we take in between the sets. But what we don't know, as a lot of people don't know, is that them 4 neurotransmitters need to happen every day. But dopamine and serotonin, the big ones, are created in the gut. They're created in the stomach. So if we're not eating correctly, then them chemicals are not going to be fully formed, and you're always going to be slightly depressed. And we're always going to walk around about 45 to 50% of our capability as human beings, because we're not getting what we need. So when we look at the gut, not one piece of food ever goes in the body and is used in its natural form. It always gets methylated into a source that the body can use. So let's say, for instance, I have heart problems and my dad had heart problems. The medical fraternity will tell you that I caught it off my dad and it's hereditary. That's impossible. It's biologically impossible. So here's what happens. Let's say my dad can't methylate onions, for instance, silly as it may sound. So if you can't methylate something, it becomes a deficiency. That deficiency causes an array of illnesses along with lack of oxygen. So let's say that's heart problems. Because you can't methylate that, it becomes heart problems. I leave the house and I get with a girlfriend and we move into our own apartment. And because me and my dad are almost the same, I can't methylate the onions, but I don't know this. So I continue eating a staple diet as my parents were on, and now I get heart problems, and I think it's because of my dad. It's like, no, there's foods and proteins out there today. Probably 90% of what we can buy in the supermarket, probably 20% of that you can't methylate as a human being. We're not supposed to methylate or eat or consume canola oils, sunflower oils, the rancid oils and the colors and the yellow this and red this and the sugar. Oh my goodness.
Processed sugar is a killer, man.
Exactly,
killer.
But people don't know this. And I did a live TV thing a few months ago when we walked into a local supermarket, and I found, we're talking about consumers that think they're eating healthy, but they're not. So we found a health bar. It was like a protein bar on the shelf. And the big words that were really big on the bar was 9 grams of protein and 0 fat. And I'm thinking, as a consumer, that I'm going to buy this for myself and my family because I'm getting the protein I need, but I'm getting 0 fat or carbohydrates. Then you spin the bar around, and the first ingredient is canola, and the second ingredient is sunflower, and the third ingredient, they can't really make their mind up, so they say this or this, and then there's artificial sweeteners in there, and you find out that the health bar that I've just taken off the shelf is worse for me than the bar that I thought was worse for me. It's a bit like Diet Coke. Everyone drinks Diet Coke for one reason, to lose weight. No. It's an eye
blind. It's an eye blind. And I fell for that when after I had just gotten into remission from cancer, and I was Diet Coke left and right. And I had more pimples on my face than what I had in IQ. I'll be very honest. But that being said, I didn't prepare this in my notes. It's so interesting you talk about food. I, for myself, am very fastidious now these days about my diet. Like yourself, I've got an active lifestyle. To methylate properly, do you think there needs to be a higher percentage of meat taken in or plants? And this addresses almost that carnivore versus vegan sort of argument, if you want to go into that territory.
That's exactly what we need. We need more raw foods into our system. So without the raw food, we're eating what we call fake food. It's artificial food, unfortunately. So I know you know this, Chris, but the listeners might not. Going back many years ago when the tobacco industry started to show a downhill and everyone turned against them, the biggest tobacco company bought the biggest food company. And from day one, they started artificially putting all sorts of crap into our food because the shelf life would last longer. That's where the problem started. You know, it's like you talk about Alzheimer's, you know, the stuff we're eating, the sugar we're eating. Alzheimer's is diabetes free. America is the only place that doesn't call it diabetes free. They call it Alzheimer's. But it's wrong. You look at the sugar intake over the years that we don't think we're taking, and it causes all the illnesses that we suffer from. But again, no advertiser or commercial on TV is going to tell you that. No food company is going to tell you that. So we're kind of on our own here to really understand and really research what you're putting in your mouth. So I'm not saying everybody go out now and, you know, don't eat this, don't eat that. You know, it costs a fortune to eat healthily in America. But what I'm saying, can you imagine just adding one day, Chris, a week where you ate raw foods, drank plenty of good water, got lots of oxygen and exercise? It can only be a good thing. Because you look at McDonald's, McDonald's fries in America and a McDonald's fries in England. So same company, yeah, same format. Okay, so McDonald's fries in England have 3 ingredients. They have salt, water, and potato. Why do we have 22 ingredients in McDonald's fries in America? And
Good
there's
question.
my point right there. Yeah. There are certain foods like, I think it was the Big Whopper or Double Burger or something that was left out for 2 weeks, and not what insect or animal would touch it. And the fries looked exactly the same as when they bought it. So we're being sold a lie in America. We're being sold a lie from the pharmaceutical companies, and we're being sold a lie from the food companies that start all this off. So we eat the food that makes us sick, then we go to the doctor, he puts us on a medication, and now we have to stay on for the rest of our lives. The food industry getting rich, pharmaceutical getting rich, doctors taking backhanders for producing these prescriptions with the same drug in it, who's paid them a fortune to make sure to get rid of it, like Adderall, for instance.
In other words, a kickback.
And we're in this circle that, that's going to change. It's going to change. I know it is our first-hand experience that will change going forward with our new health ministry. But yeah, you'll see people getting better, thinking better, and of course we add to that, we're changing and reprogramming the brain. And we're talking about superhumans that be following shortly. I think I am in that category because, as you know, I've lost 150 pounds.
You look great. You wouldn't even say that you're in your 60s.
I know. I mean, guys, if you can see this,
Oh, can I brag a bit as well? Can I brag a bit as well?
Well, we can't see you on screen, Chris.
You can't, but I can.
Yeah. So I hope the audience can see it. But yeah, I mean, it's just I've reversed the aging effect and I've reversed the body effect. So not only am I out there preaching and teaching this stuff, I'm also practicing it myself because, if I'm 400 pounds telling you to do this, you're not going to believe me. But when I dropped that weight and got more healthy, my thought pattern changed, Chris. My behavior changed. Everything around me changed. And I feel for the first time in my life, I feel healthy and I feel energetic and I feel once again I can conquer the world. But when people come to us, Chris, we have this 9D therapy, which we'll talk about. It's like a breathwork journey.
Absolutely.
And the changing
I was about
of
to get to that.
pathways. And everything we talk about, when people come off or try the first session, they always say the same thing. They go, oh my God, I feel amazing. And what I say to them is, no, you feel normal. This is the way we're supposed to feel every single day. This shouldn't be, oh, I feel great. You should be feeling like this every single day. And if you do exactly what we've talked about, that result will always be the same of greatness.
Well, you know what? That serves as a perfect segue. From personal experience, first AD binaural audio technology was the norm. At the time, it was all the rage on YouTube. I especially loved the binaural when a hairdryer would have that sound on an 8D basis because I always had a sort of a reaction to it. I would get goosies from hearing a hairdryer blow. And it appears now that 9D is the new breakthrough. Now, explain it to me. It works more or less on the basis of sensory deprivation, doesn't it?
It does. So let me set you up with this. You wear headphones and you wear a blackout eye mask and you either lie down on a yoga mat or we have reclining chairs. And basically what this is, first of all, we're hitting 425 megahertz. That's when everything starts to balance out within the body, the vibration changes. And then the big word here is subliminal messaging, which we only listen to our full messaging that people tell about us, people we think about ourselves, that's how we operate. So what you have is you have this music in the background, which is around the 425, and it's usually a 2-chord song. So when the brain operates more on 2 chords and it doesn't 3, because it anticipates the 3, so the vibration becomes differently. Then you have the main voice directing you through this journey. And then you have 9 subliminal messaging going on throughout the journey. The journey that goes from 12 minutes, and we have 60 journeys up to an hour and 22 minutes. And you're just taken into a different headspace. And when you come off, not one person has taken their headphones off and gone, yeah, it's pretty good. They've also decided, what the F was that? Even the most affluent and well-spoken people that come in, they got there to say the same thing. they're blown away. And this, we think, is what we're doing with the Alzheimer's and dementia, but it's also, we think, is the future of quickly healing, because it's like 5 years of therapy into 1 hour. It's that devastatingly good.
The wonders of science. Now, is it also proven beneficial in aid of healing from trauma as well?
100%. We use it for trauma mainly. So trauma is the gateway drug. Everybody has it. Many people will say, I don't have childhood trauma. I don't have any arguments. It's like, no, everybody has it. First of all, trust me. I've been in this industry for 30 years, and you just can't recall it. Now, we had trauma with a guy living in a $50 million house, and his parents were high flyers. He had his first Porsche 911 at the age of 16, so he got everything and thought he was happy, but he was having problems with alcohol and his problems with his relationships. So when we really got down to the nitty-gritty of the childhood trauma, we found out that he could only see his father on a Sunday between 2 and 3 p.m. That was his time with that. So there's the abandonment issues. There's the not connecting and the enmeshment and bonding issues that later on shows in relationships, and not being able to keep a job, not being intimate with friends, all that stuff. So everybody has it, and this cures it. Did I just use the word cure? Yep, I used the word cured it.
Get what the professionals get. Now, of all the varieties of treatments that you offer through your franchise, since you've introduced it up until the present day, what has been the response from your client base been to 9D as a whole?
It's unbelievable. The response, we've had it for about 4 months now, and the response has literally been monitored, checked, and tested, life-changing for every single person that's had that, to the extent that we've just taken it online. So you can do this stuff online or in our studio.
No way.
Yeah, and it's game changing. You know me with my money back guarantee stuff. If it doesn't take your life, we'll refund you. We've not got a problem with that. In fact, I'll double refund you. I'll give you twice what you paid. Because the research that we've done, when we find something or we hear something, or we always do our own research. Like people say all the time, Dr. Robb, you listen to James Black? No, you should listen to him. Why? Well, he says this amazing thing. Well, good for him. But I haven't tested or researched it, and it's not ours, so we don't want to listen to that. There's a lot of false information out there right now. Exactly. And if you do your homework and your testing on your own, like we do, we spend thousands over the years, hundreds of thousands over the years, we make sure that it's our word that says this is a product that you need to have. Because here's the research, and here's the study on this, and here's the think tank on this of what we're finding right now. So early results is without doubt, and I'm talking brain spotting as well, without doubt the best the tool we have in our toolkit, and has been since we started this 30 years ago.
You know, I hear you speaking, and you have just, in fact, proven an argument that I've said to people how many times. A business is only as good as the ground forces representing it. In fact, you actually know this argument a lot better than I, because you and I both share a love of history. What is the difference between a perfectly executed operation and a failed mission? Small unit leadership.
Yes.
So as a result, you as a business promoting a brand need to stand 100% behind the tangible product and feasible service that you are providing to the public, because it's your name, it's your time, and plus also you are not the one trying to exactly get that product from the shelf into the client's pocket. Through the representation of your brand, that process that I've just mentioned happens automatically. It's only as good as the ground forces who are operating behind that brand. A brand name by itself means bupkis. Bupkis. Complete balderdash. Absolutely nothing. But if you have 100% faith in the product that you are selling, the tangible service that you are promoting, there's feasible evidence, maybe from a tertiary party or intermediary, who says, you know what, you've got to you've got a concept here that is not just going to make you money. It's going to guaranteed be as we speak in marketing terms, a cash cow. The product and the service sells itself. Make sense?
It does. It really does. We're a great believer. We don't sell our services. You have to earn them. You come along to us. We've had, as we've talked previously, Chris, we've had huge amounts of 7 figures and to work with celebrities, and they weren't ready. So we will turn that down and have done since we started. So yeah, we fully believe and endorse everything that we do and have tried and tested everything. And, they used to, well, I suppose they still tell this to salesmen now, is you can't really sell anything unless you truly believe in the product yourself. So rather than get a third person going, hey, this is good, you should use it, we take it on, we do our own research and trials, and then when we're impressed with it, which we are with this, then it's presented to our patients and not a minute before.
Absolutely. It's funny when often a sales rep goes to and this is just an argument out of nowhere, which I will shoehorn in here, because often this is also a consumer confusion and or worry, in that when a sales rep goes to a prospective client and they say, we want to sell you product X, the one term that makes consumers incredibly afraid is, this is why it works. It's a mechanical statement.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound natural. And because it's autodidactical, people won't invest their money. But it's always the rep or the business owner who has peace of mind that they have a cash cow on hand, which more times out of 10 clinches the sale. Just thought I'd add that in there. Doc, I want to ask you another question, and it correlates more or less what you had mentioned earlier on, and I didn't know you were going to bring it up, so all the more natural. Speaking of raw foods, for myself, along with a balanced diet and physical activity, I'm a runner, I work out and a lot. I also am a fastidious believer in taking vitamins. For example, I take a vitamin stack to aid both my physical health and my brain health, nootropics. What are your thoughts on nootropics, peptides, and the like to aid human performance and mental performance?
I like peptides. I must admit, I like the natural form of peptides. I think it's very important because we go back again to the lack of raw foods, therefore the lack of proteins and vitamins that the body needs because of the fake food. So I'm a big believer. The only thing I found out recently, I can't remember the name of it, but there is cyanide in most. I can't remember the name. I really can't pronounce it. You got to make sure there's no cyanide in the vitamins you're taking. 90% do. So always go, if you can, guys, always look at the back of the label again. But you've got to go for the natural, organic stuff that you take. And again, double check it. But yeah, definitely, I'm a big believer. It's kind of why I am what I am today, because of them both. I make sure that I take what's good for me. But like you said before, a lot of it is because we're leading researchers in this industry. A lot of people don't believe it. Like when people come, they go, "Yeah, you can't do that." Yeah, we can. Just follow this, do this, let's change this, and boom, that's the end result. Because it's new neuroscience that we're finding out, not only about what we're taking, ingesting, but also our lifestyle and thought patterns and stuff today. And again, the lack of oxygen that we each have every single day, which is doing damage every single second we're alive. So all this new stuff that's come out is so good. It's not a fad. Now, there are plenty of fads out there, the diet pills on TV, we've all seen. But at the end of the day, if you do your research, you'll find out that the stuff we've been talking about, you need to start on it as soon as possible.
Doc, but I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but you're always going to get a critic.
Yes, of course. I love critics. Because most of the haters and critics that we used to have now work for me, which is always a good sign to start with. But yeah, I mean, I get it every day. And yeah, I write, this podcast will be no different. Whereas one or two will come on and say, what's this guy talking about? I've never heard this. I'll continue going to AA and I'll do one day at a time. It's yeah, great.
Dr. Robb Kelly, no way.
I know, right?
Celebrity doctor, who can doubt your knowledge? Who can doubt your expertise? Why would you have a critic? Honestly.
sometimes I want to shout and go, listen, I've been doing this a long time, go Google me. But yeah, it's worth doing. And like everything, if somebody comes to me and said, you tried the latest this, the answer is no, because they haven't researched it. So, I always tell this people, even me, go research. Even new patients come out, I'm like, no, you've only heard that. Go research, do your homework, go somewhere else first, try something else first. When everything else fails, because 9 out of 10 times it will, because of our society and the way we live today, come back and we'll prove to you we're the only company that has a 98% success rate. End of conversation. And I could have retired years ago. I do this not for the money these days. I've got enough money, thank you. I've got enough happiness. I've got enough everything. I do this because this new neuroscience that we know, and vitamins, peptides, everything that's ruining the country right now, everybody needs to know to be able to live longer, to be able to be happier, to perform better for you and your family. I mean, money's not everything, but you need to provide for your family. Whether
Absolutely.
that be the best road sweeper in the world, or whether that be the best multi-mega billionaire in the world, for me, it doesn't make a difference. Are you healthy to live a long life? So when you're 60 and 70, like I am, that you are performing as good as the guy next door who's 25. That's what I'm bothered about. And that's what we're preaching.
Well, there's also another dimension to it, and you can't deny that you still enjoy the work, even after 30 plus years.
Yes. I get excited about it. And that's going back again to the salesman. I get so excited about this, like I have done today to 30 years ago when I first started this journey, because I know I've seen so many miracles, again, going back to the 9D, oh my God, I feel amazing. No, you feel normal. This is how human beings are supposed to feel. And over the years, we've been conned with the food and the false vitamins, and we need this and we don't need that, and eggs are bad and that. And it's just, we've been conned because so much going on in Parliament and the government and the food industry that we don't find out about. So we just follow the herd and our health suffers.
Yeah. You've touched on something, and I'm not going to shy away from it either. People who say they're apolitical are missing the point completely. You have to start paying attention because it affects your lifestyle choices ultimately at the end of the day, if you were so to have a lifestyle choice. Yeah,
I would say so. And knowledge is power in any industry. The more you know about what's going on with you as a human being, not politics or anything, I just mean you. How does your body work? Sure. What's the best performance? How can you, most people walk around 45 to 55% of their capability in fasting. Most people walk around breathing 45 to 50% oxygen. We need 100%, and we need to know exactly what's going on. When I eat this, what happens to me? Can I methylate this? If you can afford, again, the MTHR gene testing kits, it's like $90. You can buy them now online, and you can send them back, and they'll tell you what you're not methylating. And you can replace that with another food or protein, as your body and brain will thank you as you go along, and you'll see the difference. It's a new era out there,
Oh, yeah. Well, I wanted to bring this up earlier as well, correlating with what you said in conjunction with the critics. I mean, when the concept of biohacking was starting to make the rounds on social media and the like, I was also a skeptic, because the reason why is the concept of biohacking, touching on what you had said. Sorry, guys, if you have a bad thought, someone had put it there. There was an episode not too long ago from the wildly popular detective series NCIS Los Angeles. And they tried to lampoon biohacking by sending one of their agents undercover. And the students in the biohacking department, some of them were walking around with TV aerials, and the signal thoughts that they had would light a light bulb in the TV aerial and emit radio waves. And I think these are by people who just took a word, didn't even bother to look up the definition, and went completely battlefield Earth on the whole thing. When in truth, biohacking can be described as another word, 3 words as a matter of fact, and it's not because I think of myself as so smart, it's just the way I define things. Fountain of youth.
Yeah.
And it's so simple because it works like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. When you look at the word biohacking, and it's obviously the pursuit of, the ethical pursuit is very important, of changing the way you are, changing the functions and mindset of who you are today, as opposed to how you were programmed to be today. And that again goes back to the childhood. It's like there's a different life. You can literally change. It's like you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. It's like you can change your whole being and thought patterns to go in a different direction and find your tribe. See, I can go back to the projects tomorrow, Chris, and I can help people there, but I cannot live there anymore because my thought patterns will reverse back to what some people call old thinking. You know, and if I'm acting out old behavior, guess what? It's not old behavior, it's current behavior.
Correct. And it comes to another question, which I'm almost hesitant to ask, but I know that you're a man who is transparent from backwards and forwards. The concept of change your words, change your life. Positive thinking, literally overcoming negative thinking. Does that still form the basis of the work that you do, even with the addition of 9D breathwork?
It does. We truly believe that what we tell ourselves and what we let people tell us is who we become. So subconscious brain is very, very, well, in English world is snidey. It's very, you know, it works on its own. It hides the stuff you don't want to see and then it releases it at just the right time for them and the wrong time for us. So what we tell ourselves is very, very important. If I drop a pen on the floor, I'm not, oh, you idiot, Rob. No, you've got to stop that, guys. And you've got to stop anybody around you that treats you less than or tries to talk down to you. For instance, my weight loss journey has been amazing. I'm now down to 200 pounds, I think, just over. And one of my so-called friends the other day said to me, oh, Rob, look, you're putting weight on. No, I'm just joking. He's gone from my life. Because I truly believe that dialogue is very, very important about what we say to each other. We go back to the Japanese scientists who did them 2 bodies of water experiment. And it was just absolutely mind-blowing of what we say to each other can damage. So the old nursery rhyme at school, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is a lie. Because words will crucify you. Absolutely. I mean, you can heal from a broken hand or a black eye, but from what people say to us, what ties to our less than childhood trauma will rule our life.
And I'm going to say something, and now I am going to preach. And I have been teased as a child that I'm a preacher. I'm an orator. Thank you very much. What was I going to say now? Oh, yes. It's a preschool principle. It's a preschool principle. If you don't have anything uplifting to say about yourself or someone, do the world a favor. Don't act like an illiterate dunce running around in the street with a cardboard editorial, yelling words that you don't have a cooking clue mean anything. Just shut up.
Yes. And people will say, and we've heard this last time, well, there's just people out there. My answer is always the same. Don't associate with them. Why would you put yourself in somebody's company that would do that or believe that? We always get the guy that, you know, that got a proper answer or snide remark or a problem to every solution you come up with. It's just, they're not your guys. If you're trying to get peak performance, they're not your guys, you know, because sooner or later I did a talk in California. There were 1,000 people there. Exactly. How do we know that? Well, because of fire regulations, they had to click them in with a clicker. 1,000, that was it. Doors closed. After the meeting, they told me, please put another hour on your journey because everybody will come. It's customary. Shake your hand and thank you for being here. 999 people, true story, said it was amazing. And one person said I was loud, I was aggressive, and I was angry. Have a guess who I concentrated on for the next couple of months and nearly relapsed? That one guy. So I knew we were onto something when we listened to these people. And, you know, it's okay to have a thought. It's okay to be around somebody that said something off the cuff. But once you start romancing that verbiage, even if it's internal dialogue verbiage, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, continuing on in that pattern, looking at my life essentially, I think the reason why I was so comfortable thinking less of myself is because I desperately wanted affection and I desperately wanted approval. And it's a problem that still persists today. But let me put the next person 10, 20 steps ahead. I, for myself, being a younger man, have no problem being in my own company, and I'll tell you full why. When I'm alone, there's potential for growth. There's potential for learning. There's potential for expansion. But it has become customary, or rather, it has become economy, to rather settle for less, be in company that ultimately proves detrimental, and it causes the entire haywire to do a complete flip from evolution, where we all were supposedly to have started as monkeys and gradually gone into man. We've become men. We started as men or women and adopted the mindset of monkeys because we're always seeking approval.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, the validation that we crave, the approval that we crave comes from the childhood, and we'll do all sorts to get that validation or sit in that comfort zone. There's a great story that I've probably told before, Chris, but for the audience, please let me tell it again. And it's the girl that got snatched in England, Manchester, late 60s. Schoolgirl, blonde hair, blue eyes, 16 years old, snatched off the side of the street. Nobody could find her. It was a 3-month manhunt when almost every police officer in Manchester was assigned to try and trace her, and they couldn't trace her. 9 months later, a police car is following another car down a country road, and it has a broken light, so he pulls them over. Now, back in the day, police had a certain way to find out if the vehicle was yours or whether it was stolen, because we didn't have iPhones and stuff like that. So they would ask the driver, what's in the trunk? What's in the boot of the car? And they were yellow jacket, pair of boots. And they'd open the trunk and yellow jacket, pair of boots. It's his car, obviously. So when they asked this guy what's in the trunk, he was a bit shady about the answer. So they opened it up and they found one stolen screwdriver worth about 50 cents back in the day, 50 pence. But now they're allowed to go back to the house and search for other stuff. And sure enough, there was lawnmowers, there was drills, there was even a pair of ladders that he'd stolen. God knows how he stole the ladders. But there was a big box in the corner, 4 foot high for about 12 foot wide. And they said to him categorically that you have stolen items in there again. So they smashed the lock off, and there was the girl that went missing 9 months before. Now, she was alive. She was bruised and battered and used to take out every day. He used to abuse her, restroom, bathe, food, back in the box several times a day for 9 months. When the policewoman bent over to take the young girl's hand, she helped her step out the box. She took a police coat off and she wrapped it around this young girl. Guys, what's the first thing she did? She got back in the box. And that's what we do with life. We'd rather stay somewhere that we're not causing trouble, we're not causing a fuss, but it's painful to us. And then when painful becomes a comfort zone, and we'll keep returning back there, either psychologically or girl in the box type. We need to smash that comfort zone and step away from that comfort zone if you want to live a happy and successful life.
Hearing you talk, it reminds me of the Josef Fritzl case from Germany. Anyway, on that note, I've been meaning to ask you, and this is only for my own selfish interest. It's been the subject of media time and again. Many criminal profilers, because you and I also share a love of criminology. Many serial killers who tend, or very, very depraved criminal offenders, often plead criminal insanity or the basis of insanity, not guilty on the basis of insanity, because they've got the so-called monoamine oxidase type A gene, the MAOA gene or the warrior gene. To be honest with you, I think people who have suffered with trauma that build that wall around themselves might have a propensity for that gene, but it doesn't mean automatically that you're going to become a wackadoo, a complete bunter, crazy person. Do you think that people who have the MAOA gene can use it as a means of good with the right treatment? Just your opinion.
You know, the codes and the proteins for that, it's a bit like a tumor cell growth. So it may stay small, and then it will increase as life expectancy goes on. So we look at serial killers, which is my kind of also my ambition, and I'm so intrigued by them that it can grow and grow and grow. But there are, obviously, we've never done this ourselves, there are incidences where that's been reversed and they've led a fantastic life based on that experience to help lots of people. But as we know, the human brain can be very, very volatile. We don't always follow a certain pattern that we're supposed to follow. So when we come away, now there's an interesting one as well, Chris. Are we born with this, or is it made and created, the gene, from the childhood trauma and stuff that we've been through? I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. I need to study that to get more, but it's intriguing. I would love to go. We did some research 15 years ago on death row, and we did the research to see how isolation was. Like, you take your name off somebody, like give them a number, and you take the isolation away, you take them away from human beings, and 95% were insane by the time they got there. So were they born with the same gene? Can that be reversed? I truly think, and that's a great question, Chris, as always. I think, yes, I think it can be reversed. I think it can be made, for good. But that might be my next research period, I think. But what a great question, Chris, again.
I had to ask because criminology has always fascinated me in the sense of that it is science, even though it's more forensic science and forensic psychology. I come from a family who were originally in law enforcement, so I was drawn to that, but more from the standpoint of I want to know more, because there's a side of me that has sympathy with a lot of these people.
Yeah.
And it's not because of the fact that I think that every life is sacred. You know, I operate from a biblical standpoint in the Old Testament, where it says that when man's blood is shed, by man shall his blood be shed. So an eye, for a tooth, just for some shorthand. But when you look at 99.999999999% of these guys' pasts, and you can list them up by the baker's dozen.
Yes.
More times out of 10, they've come from a terrible, terrible background. Father rejected them. The mother slapped them stupid. The grandmother perhaps tossed them with warm water or kettle water. Yes. Just for some perverted fun, and they just couldn't tell right from wrong anymore, and they operate completely within the gray. That's honestly from my experience.
Yeah,
I'm looking from the outside in, of course.
Yeah, I the gene itself that plays a role in the catabolism of, the neurotransmitters, which again is the main ingredients of the dopamine and serotonin we talked about. It obviously influences the neural response with the psychological effect after any trauma like that to be repeated in future. Because we go back to the girl in the box and it becomes a natural occurrence. Now, what sets that off, I'm yet to find out as a researcher. I don't know what that is, but it definitely corresponds and correlates to certain events that happen to them that they, and here's the key, guys, they thought was normal at the time. So when a trauma happens as a child, as bad as it may be, it becomes a natural occurrence. And then we think it's a working part of the brain. So when you leave and go to school or college and you find out that, holy moly, no one of those kids in the college ever was treated like that, then the brain has two choices. It can rebel, and that's when the neurotransmitters are increased around the MAOA gene, or it can fall in line and work on, and obviously therapy and all the other stuff. But once crossed over that line, I think there's only a few percentages that's tried and tested medically over the years for them to come back and lead a normal life. But can you imagine? If we look, God, this is a great conversation, Chris. If we looked at, say, one serial killer and that become a way of life, which feels normal, then that normality of that chaos and killing had to be reversed or could be reversed. It's a working part of the brain. It's a natural occurrence, like a knee-jerk reaction. Can we change that knee-jerk reaction? If a doctor hits you on the knee, can we stop that knee-jerk reaction? Well, 9 out of 10 times we can't stop it. And surely the actions and the enjoyment they get from that in killing itself, can that be fully reversed? I think maybe 2, 3, 4%, Chris. Well, that's a long answer, but I got me excited now.
Well, that's what I wanted. I almost thought, okay, goodness, are my questions half-baked here? Because I'm not presenting any hitters here. I want the excitable Dr. Kelly.
Well, let me just add to that, though, Chris,
sure,
if I may, that the question begs to be asked, is the MAOR gene a form of autism? Is it a form of spectrum?
Oh, you bugger.
Right. That begs to be asked. Now we get into that kind of side of it. Is it something that can be reversed? Like, can autism be reversed? I don't think it can be reversed, but we can be given tools to handle life better. And I think that's the answer to the question: is can these serial killers come out and live a normal life? And I think with the tools to replace the natural occurrence, then surely it's possible.
Well, you know what? Now that you went there, I'm going to go there. What if we took kids and adults today? Tony Atwell wrote a great book on autism. And hello, my name is Chris, and I am autistic.
Yes.
Hello. What if we taught people, specifically kids and young adults who are autistic for that matter, if they could just get into a regimen of speaking positive words over themselves, how they can unlock their emotional and their IQ a lot more naturally. And I'll tell you full why, because I started doing this. I wanted to tell you about this in private conversation a while ago, but I just couldn't muster the time or the effort. It's unbelievable how NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, has also taken the world by storm, because it operates more or less on the same argument of change your words, change your life. Someone that I know did a brain profile on me. Are you more left-hand dominant? Are you more right-hand dominant? Are you left brain dominant? Are you right brain dominant? And then they break it down via category. And more times out of 10, when I took those statistics, which were all in the positive, I dare say, and I went to Celeste, who tested me afterwards, and I had to tell her, I am Asperger's syndrome. So in other words, I've got mild autism. I don't have a disorder. I've got a condition. Repeat after me. Autism is not a disorder, and whoever labeled that, shame on you and a pox on your house. It's a condition. And she said, reiterate that every given day. My conversations have become a lot more sparkling. I'm a lot more to the point, and I don't mumble, and I don't ramble just facts off like that. Coherency in my sentences have been a lot more visible. And as a result, maybe for the first time in my life, in my 32 years of existence, I've got what is known as a self-image. Whereas originally, when someone were to be diagnosed with either ADHD, autism, insert whatever criteria, then they're thought of as a freak.
Yes, I like that. Let one go deeper than that a second. Just let stay with me here, guys at home. Okay, so if there is a predisposition to some kind of autism or addiction or anything else, can that predisposition, which comes from, let's say, the father, so it's all I keep on promising that, the MAOA gene, it's more prevalent in males than it is in females, the X chromosome. Now females have both, actually, but predominantly the harming one, only men have. So when we are born, does that predisposition come from father's self-talk, reaction, trauma, depression, thought patterns that he's been through, and therefore back in the day we're convinced that he was clinically depressed? That's what they used to call it back in the day, and therefore talks himself into that state. So when you are born, the predisposition is not only the transformation of one default cell to another, but it's also dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. It's biblical as well. The sins of the father will be passed down to the next generation.
Yes.
Using as another reference point, of course.
Yes. Brilliant. Wow, we started. I can feel a number 2 podcast coming next week, very soon, guys. It's me. When Chris and I get on podcasts like this, it doesn't have to be hours; it needs to be days.
Yeah, that's what I said. These lapses between you and I, me not talking, that spit needs to stop right there. That scat needs to stop. Doc, just to wrap it up, you are currently away on business, but as I am to understand, you're about to share this stage soon with likely Jenny McCarthy and a bunch of other names, Tony Robbins and the like?
I believe so, yeah. It's been put back. And at the moment, that there is 2 of them people on there, which I will not mention, that are in a lawsuit together. All right. So as soon as that gets sorted out, yeah. I mean, I love sharing the stage with these guys. Because we're kind of the quiet guys over here, and we're not on stage telling everyone to become millionaires. We're more neuroscientists behind the scene. So it's nice now and again to get out in the public, and people that don't know me go, "Oh my God, you're on the stage with these guys," which my answer is, "Oh my God, they're on the stage with me." So flip it real quick to make sure that they know that I belong there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. July, it's in London. So I shall keep you posted and maybe drag you over there. I'm sure my company could use some company expenses to bring Chris Nell over. That would be a meeting of the minds, would you say?
I would give my 4 front teeth to get on a stage again. It's been 7 bloody years.
There you go.
But I'm eager to ask this, Doc. And to be honest with you, I've always been reticent to ask this because I know you've been peppered numerous times by colleagues of industry and what I do. You've been asked the same thing, but I'm really curious, not towards who you've worked with, but when you began the work that you do, did you say to yourself as a goal, I'm going to work with Randy Couture, I'm going to work with Gary Brecker, I'm going to work with this? Was this a goal for you, or was it just something that happened organically?
I knew because of the research that we've done so far, would bring me to the big spotlight. The names individually, no. Most of the people I've met, we admire as actors or musicians. So I knew I'd be at a high level of teaching and helping just because of the research that we've done is far advanced. And again, guys, this is not me trying to show off or something. I'm not here for that. But after the research and the struggles I went through and the dying on the streets and getting my kids back on this whole journey, I knew that it would have to go to a higher platform to be allowed. Now, I dislike immensely the smooching and the whining and dining and the meeting and the groups and the gathering. I stay away from all of that.
And I've tried to avoid treating you that way, to be honest.
I'm just, there's guys that enhance their businesses through that and good on them. But I've been known to shout at these celebrities and they never speak to me again. And that's fine. Whatever.
You shout.
I know. It's absolutely unheard of.
I struggle to marry that concept, to be honest.
Right? It's unbelievable. But I'm my own person. I love what we do because we do what we love. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, that's the bottom line, I think, Chris. It's nice to be asked and it's nice to be called by these guys or agents saying, can you come and help, blah, blah. And there's a little bit of me that takes me back to my council estate and my project housing days that goes, oh, my God, I'm the guy that these guys are coming to. And I kind of smile every time I do it. But it's a pleasure to work with high profile people and working class people like me and you, of course. So yeah, it's an added bonus.
I love that answer because even to my own perspicacity, when I started my career in broadcasting, I was egotistical and said I wanted to work with the best of them. But life doesn't always follow a linear pattern, does it? So the things that matter to me now are things that mattered. The things that matter to me now are worlds apart than what mattered before. I love talking. I'm an orator. I'm still a performer in myself, but I don't yearn to be number one on the call sheet. I just want to enjoy what I do, and everything else is just icing on the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And we get to live this life, whether it's getting your children back. It's, I don't know, it's them things that we're great to live today that we're truly grateful for. And that's living the life. Well, my saying from the streets, I used to walk past these houses and, pray to God or Uncle Jimmy, and I just wanted one night where I would be living the dream instead of dreaming. I was dreaming of sitting with these guys in these houses I used to pass when I was homeless. So today I'm living the dream, Chris, instead of dreaming of living.
And also for me as well, and I'm sure it must be for you the same to end it all off, it's now a fact of, I want to see how long the arm is,
Yeah.
Where can I go where I have not gone before? And if this phrasing that I'm going to use to end off with sings to you, you're more than welcome to use it. I'm not going to trademark it. Making the uncomfortable fun comfortable.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Dr. Kelly.
I can see a T-shirt coming on, Chris.
Well, let's revise. Making the uncomfortable a fun comfortable, and still a student of the University of Life. Let's see how much more we can tally. Dr. Kelly, as always, you're nothing shy of a gem. I'm proud to call you a mate. It's not just because of the fact that you and I share a public platform and you and I are both public figures. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for accepting me as one of your own. And whenever I invite you to come on a show like this, you always bring your A game. I love you to the ends of the earth.
Back at you, Chris. Thank you so much for inviting me. Always a pleasure. Always knew that this conversation is it's going to be mind-blowing, of course. And again, guy, not to blow horns here, but one of the best podcasters I've ever had the pleasure of meeting is Chris Nell. And he doesn't know this, guys, but we're going to get him over here to America. And when he calls Courtney, we jump. And that's the truth.
And I also would like to extend my deepest thanks to Courtney Davies, who's media coordinator for the Robb Kelly Group. I would like to cordially invite any audience members, if you are very interested in the work that Dr. Kelly does, simply hop on www.robbkellygroup.com. That's all that you need to do. www.robbkelly.group.com. All the information is there. You can find out about the various branches that are there, the various treatments that are there. There's also a lovely dished out press kit of some of the work that he has done on TV and radio. There's that famed episode on which he was on with the doctors at the time. He was a lot more heavier then. Look at the sexy man standing in front of me now. He's aged in reverse. He's not 63. He's 36. But in all, he's the Gordon Ramsay of the recovery world. And I would like to say, I'd like to give him a new name. Let's give him a new name. The Mind Whisperer.
Oh, my goodness. I've got to write that down. Oh.
The Mind Whisperer. Thy name is Robb Kelly. Dr. Robb, Dr. Kelly, mate, thank you again so much. All the best to you. All the best of luck with what you're doing. I understand also you've got a little bit of an ailment going on. Get quickly over that. Get your vitamins in. And I can't wait to have you back. Let's not make it bloody 6 months. Let's make it every couple of weeks.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Chris.
That's Dr. Robb Kelly. I'm Chris Nell, and at the Apex Predator, we remind you that through the work of APX and through the work of the Robb Kelly Group, you yourself can become an unbreakable mind, an unstoppable force, an untamed spirit, a mind whisperer. Ultimately, your very own army of one. Look after yourself, guys. God bless one and all.